for attending the workshop also. So please stay tuned for that. Would like to now invite our next speaker on stage, Deepika Datta Kapoor. She is the head of UI and UX at DMI. 16 years of experience. She has been conceptualizing design elements for, multiple platforms, be it, mobile platform, web applications, and emerging devices, and even wearable products. So a lot of experience on UI and UX design. And she's going to tell us about how do you really get that UI UX right.
Sure.
Okay, well, welcome Deepika, and over to you.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you, everyone. So I hope people are not sleepy after the heavy lunch on a summer day. Do we need some exercises or something, or everybody is good enough? I don't hear it. After the food, so less energy? Come on, one loud one. All good? Okay, now it seems like great. I'm just trying to manage. Thank you. So I'll be actually walking a lot close to my, tell me if this screen is viewable to everybody or that one works. This one is fine? Okay, all right. So till now there have been a lot of discussions around technology, clouds and everything, but I'll be talking a bit separate on the UX and design part. And it was good to actually hear from few people that they were pretty excited to be part of this conversation. And that is one of the core reasons they had joined and registered for it. So all right. So just to talk a bit about myself, since this is an experience what I'll be sharing. So as part of understanding users, I thought it would be good if I can actually share about myself too. So I'm working with DMI right now, which is into digital mobile innovations. And what I typically do, apart from working with the organization, I'm part of the jury and guidance support to the designers with TDV, which is the Design Institute. And I also love to, in my free time, do a lot of graffiti work. So if you would have heard about Delhi street art, that is where I get associated with them. This is something what you can see it in Lodi Gardens in Delhi. And part of wearables workshop, which really excites me, I'm wearing a Fitbit. I'm not sure if anybody over here also wears any wearable devices. Do we have anybody talking about innovation? Oh, great, great. What are you wearing? Apple Watch?
No, it's the Apple.
Okay, great, great. And then I'm a proud Pinkathon runner. I love to ideate and adventure in between. And in collaboration with DMI, we are also patrons with first Delhi Dribble Design Meetup for the complete Delhi NCR. So we are trying to build a community for the designers across, since we see a lot of communities being in Bangalore, Pune. So we want to do a setup here. So that is where, as part of DMI, we are also working on this part. And this year, somewhere in October, we are planning to host a second Dribble event. So what is UX? We hear this jargon everywhere, UX/UI. So UX is different, UI is different. Let me first take this as an example. So UX is basically, when done right, we hardly notice. It has become a part of our lifestyle. For example, it's a well-laid home. You know, okay, these are the stairs, you'll enter into the living room, which side would be the kitchen, where would be the balcony, and blah, blah, blah. Right, so everything is well and we hardly notice. The way your car doors are there, we know, okay, this way it's the handle and you pull the door and it will open, right? So we don't actually realize, we know, okay, chairs are here, we'll just pull the chair from the table and sit on the chairs, right? So this is experience which we don't realize. I'm sure you all would be, since a new design of Indian rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, I'm sure you all would have seen it. That coin has a 2 number written on it and this finger, 2 fingers, stating it's a new design which came up last year. And see, design-wise, it is very good. That is what we call UI. That by looking at it, looking at the user interface, you can say that, okay, this is 2 number. You don't need to read. People who don't read can by this understand it's 2 rupee coin. Now imagine, Or in fact, I would love to hear from all of you, have any one of you faced an issue when taking out these coins from your pocket, you actually do a double check whether it's a 1 rupee coin or it's a 2 rupee coin, right? I'm sure a lot of people, can I have some hands up that you at times tend to check that whether it's right? All the time, right? So that is what is user experience. And design is good, UI is good, but user experience is wrong. And just remember the 2 rupee coin that we had earlier, which was in hexagon shape. You could just pick it from the coin set and give it to any of the people, either on the toll gate or anywhere. It was more easy, right? So over here, during the redesigning phase, the UI has improved, but the UX has been lost. So, although it just takes a fraction of second, but while driving back, you might be thinking, did I give a 1 rupee coin or a 2 rupee coin to the toll guy, right? So that is what I would say the primary difference between UI and UX is. So a user experience, when we move into a digital world, is basically it is having your user in the center and then building products around it, trying to understand what is the ambience your user is into. Is he or she in a happy mood? Which location or culture they are based with? Because that plays a very important role. What kind of social media they use, what kind of devices they use, and stuffs around the user. The way I kind of introduce myself, so you know a bit more about me than a typical information which you'll see in the agenda sheet, right? So that is the way you have to start learning about the user, in which premises I don't mean just the location, but in which space they are, and during which space they'll be using your product, whether it's web, whether it's mobile, or it could be a hard product like a mobile phone or something, that way. So as I was chatting with a lady out there and trying to understand that how do they do user experience design in their organization. So what do typically organizations do? They start with doing some quick visual designs. After the branding is done, start building screens on it. What is the most important thing that is typically left in that is doing your initial research. Trying to do these workshops, sessions, either with yourself, with your customers, with your users, or your stakeholders, if you are working with any organization for a brand, that is the most important step. Based on those only, you are able to identify what would be your interaction, which will lead to your visual branding, and then following actions will fall into. So for today's session, my focus would primarily be over here, where you are continuously iterating your work. If the product is already there, how you can enhance it further to build better revenues, to get more users. So it's more about doing regular testing at all levels. We are used to hearing that testing just happens at the end of the product when the product is launched. But I'll be talking how we can do it prior to the launch. Because once the launch is done, your product is already built. You have already spent good amount of your resources, effort, time, and you don't want to go back and do it. It's very much valid, right? So it's better to do it at different levels. So the process of enhancing user satisfaction is just on 3 points. You want your product to be usable, accessible, and it should give you the delight. That is what Apple does. That is what Steve Jobs had been doing till now. So simple rule, Pareto principle. I'm sure a lot of you would have already been aware about. It's a simple 20-80 concept that you put in 20% of the effort and you get a 80% result out of it. And that result could be in the form of rewards. It could be getting better clicks. It could be getting more revenues and so on. So how do you do and how others have been doing this? So I thought it would be good if I could share a few case studies about it. These are very crisp and short case studies, and the reason to share is because it doesn't feel that we are just talking about how small elements made a big difference for a lot of companies. So LifeProof is a company which has been working on the cases for the mobile devices, and these cases can be our protectors in any kind of environment for your mobile devices. So in this case, what was, I'm not sure if it is readable, but I'll read it for you. On the website, there is a button on the top which was called Store. This was a live product which was very well running, but over the time it was realized that, okay, can we enhance some small elements to it to bring a lot more value for the company? And that is where two variations were created. One variation had your shop section, and the other one just said shop. So this is where Shop Now, after doing user testing, was identified that it is more actionable for the users. That user would be instigated to do some shopping. Unless you don't give an actionable item to the user, they won't take an action on it. So your call to actions, just a small textual change, made a difference over here, where they were able to increase their monthly revenues with this percentage. In fact, you can go to this blog of Kara Harsman, and you can read the complete case study about it if you are interested how it went deep into what all changes were there. So a simple takeaway that when promoting, don't give just a basic name or a text to any button or an action. Make it more actionable for the user, that he is aware what he needs to do. Don't give him such surprises and leave him vague. Give him an action, shop now. You'll tell him, he'll do it. That's it. Another one is for the Dwell brand. So what they wanted to do as part of their goal, they wanted to derive more vendors to the landing page, and so that they can buy more products. In their control version is a version which already existed with them, and which was called Find a Retailer button. This was a section where they expected vendors to be searched. But what was happening, a lot of people were not able, it wasn't clear, find a retailer, right? How many people actually understand the word of a retailer? A normal consumer or the targeted people, very selective, would understand, right? So that is where two variations were created. In fact, there were more, but later it was kind of shortlisted to two, which was where to buy and nearby retailers. And where to buy is a typical question when you'll go to a product. You'll see, okay, where should I buy this? Where should I look for a product? So they conducted A/B testing. I'll be talking a bit more about the testing as we move forward, but just these small changes I wanted to highlight were bringing a lot of change in their increase in clicks and also in their revenues. So takeaway I have already covered. This is for a fitness world. On the label, it's a gymming thing, and when you register for a gym, what do you typically look for? How close it is to your, either to your office or to your home, to your location, right? But what was happening over here was get your membership. It's a typical banner ad. A lot of people will say, get your membership. How many of you would actually go and get it, right? As a user, you won't do it unless you know, okay, can I find the gym? Can I look for a membership in that? Is it close to my area, my locality, and what are the timings, and then things add over it. So as part of the research, it was identified that the core point of bringing users to do this bringing users to register and become members of this fitness club can only be done once that feature is prominently done, because that search of location was a bringing or a focusing point for the user to actually start clicking on that button. So just a small change in the text actually brought the difference. So it's not just about measuring that what is good, what is bad, but also taking an action on it. At times we redesign a lot of things, but then we don't implement based on, okay, we don't have much resources available, it might take a lot of time and things like that. But your research would go waste, your effort would go waste until unless it's not implemented and an action is not taken. So the process of taking an action as a self is also important, only based on your testing, because that will convince you that your users are looking for something what even you are not sure about. So that is a visibility check. So don't wait for the product to be built, start iterating, and from the iteration level, whether it is paper sketches or a quick prototype, enable your team to do testing. For example, you have created a product, it could be on a whiteboard or it could be on a paper. Just take it out to your users and do a quick test. That will save on your cost, your effort, and even on your duration, because you are refining your application or your product in a rightly manner and not delaying it for another 6 months till the product is launched. So these are few prototyping tools and collaboration tools in which you can even add comments, collaborate with your users, whatever your users are clicking on it, you can actually record all that information, record their comments, record their expressions also, and these are like free tools available. These are prototyping tools, and while testing you can record their expressions. So these tools also allow your paper sketches to be moved into a functional prototype. These are freely available. The best one that we at DMI we use is actually InVision, because what we have tested all 4 of them, but InVision is the best one which we'll recommend. The reason being, it not just lets you create multiple prototypes, but share with team members. For example, one of your designer is creating and you want to add a comment or do a modification or build interactions around it, that can also be done. And these tools are very good because they allow you to add a lot of interactions, that if it's a mobile, you want to swipe a screen left or right, or it needs to come in a transition mode, then that can also be created via this. And these are free web-based tools. You can even create a quick app for it and even test it on your mobile. It's shareable on your mobile itself, so you don't need to wait to get it to a test fairy and then build or deploy your web apps. These are testing tools which can be taken to the user. It also allows you to do free video recording of your users and even their voices. So user testing is the one which is on web-based, and you don't need to go anywhere and search for users. You just need to add the demographics or the personas of your user. What kind of user are you targeting about your region? If you are targeting your users should be Windows friendly or iPad friendly, you can specify over there. And that is where, based on it, it pulls